What if I told you that the moment you feel your life collapsing may be the very moment it is preparing to be rebuilt into something far greater than you ever imagined? What if I told you that your greatest heartbreak, your deepest failure, and your darkest night might not be curses but the chisels carving you into the person you were always meant to be? You may shake your head thinking these are comforting lies, but I want to take you into the story of a man named Elias, who learned that the weight of despair is the very hammer that forges destiny. Elias was not born into royalty or privilege. He was a craftsman's son in a forgotten village, surrounded by dusty roads and tired people who believed that life was meant to be endured rather than lived. From childhood, he carried in his heart a burning vision of building something extraordinary, a life greater than the one he saw before him. Yet every attempt he made ended in defeat. He tried trading goods in the market, but he was cheated and left with nothing. He tried traveling to the city to learn a craft, but illness struck him down and forced him home. Each time he failed, voices around him grew louder, whispering that perhaps he was cursed, perhaps he was chasing dreams not meant for him. One night, after another crushing failure, Elias sat by the dying fire in his small home, speaking not to anyone, but to the silence itself. He muttered bitterly, "Is this what life is? Endless trials, endless losses? If fate wished me to succeed, would it not grant me at least one victory?" And in the shadows of that lonely night, he imagined the voice of his late father answering, not in comfort, but in sternness. "You speak as though fate owes you success, yet you have not paid the price of persistence. You cry at the first wound. But do you not see that scars are the proof of warriors? You demand reward without endurance, but no crown, no glory, no legacy is handed to the faint of heart." Elias closed his eyes, trembling, and whispered back, "Then how many wounds must I endure? How many failures must break me before I am deemed worthy?" And the imagined voice of his father roared, "As many as it takes until you are unbreakable." From that night, Elias resolved to rise once more. He began to work harder than before, waking before dawn, carving wood into beautiful designs, carrying his goods miles on foot to reach markets that had once mocked him. But life, as if testing his newfound resolve, struck him again. A rival trader destroyed his stalls, rumors spread to ruin his name, and once more he returned home empty-handed. Friends told him to quit, neighbors said he was chasing illusions, and even his own mother pleaded, "My son, perhaps this is not your path. Accept a simple life and save yourself from more heartbreak." Elias stood in silence, then answered with a trembling voice, "Mother, if I surrender now, I will not save myself from heartbreak. I will condemn myself to it. For a life unlived is the greatest failure of all." Time passed, and Elias endured trial after trial. He failed more than he succeeded, yet each failure no longer crushed him the way it once had. He began to see them as lessons, as steps on a staircase only he could climb. On one journey, when his cart broke on a mountain road and left him stranded in the storm, he cried out into the night sky, "Why do you torment me so? Why do you place these endless walls in my path?" And in the thunder he seemed to hear an answer echo back, "Because a man who reaches his dream easily will never be strong enough to protect it. Only the one who bleeds for his vision can hold it when storms come again." Elias collapsed in the mud that night, but when dawn rose, so did he, with a fire in his eyes that had not been there before. Years passed, and the boy once mocked as cursed became a man hardened by persistence. Slowly, his woodwork gained recognition. Travelers carried his designs to faraway cities, and nobles began to order pieces crafted by his hands. What once seemed impossible now unfolded before him, but Elias never forgot the nights he had begged to give up. Even at the height of his success, he told himself, "This is not the gift of fate, it is the reward of discipline. Every scar I carry is the proof that I refuse to stop." One day, a young apprentice who had heard of his story came to him in tears after failing to sell his first creations. Elias listened, then spoke not with softness, but with the same fire that once burned in his father's imagined voice. "Do you think greatness is purchased cheaply? Do you think the world hands you glory without demanding your sweat, your tears, and your very soul? You say you have failed, but I say you have been tested. If you quit now, the test has judged you unworthy. If you rise, then every failure will become your strength." You must decide which voice you will obey, the voice of despair or the voice of destiny. The boy nodded, his spirit awakened, and Elias saw in him a reflection of the man he himself had become. By the time Elias grew old, his name was spoken with reverence. His creations stood in palaces, his apprentices became masters, and his once broken dreams had grown into a legacy. Yet when people asked him the secret of his success, he did not speak of talent or luck. He only smiled and said, "The secret is simple, though few will believe it. Every failure is a stone. Carry them long enough and they will become the foundation of your palace. Quit too soon, and they will remain only rubble." So what if I told you that your scars are not curses, but signatures of the life you are meant to build? What if I told you that your failures are not proof of weakness, but proof of becoming? You may not see it now, but each heartbreak is hammering you. Each disappointment is shaping you. And each fall is forcing you to rise with strength you never knew you had. Like Elias, you are being beaten into the weapon life requires. The question is not whether the fire will burn. It always will. The question is whether you will let it consume you or forge you.